Hi, I'm Yasmin, a wife and a proud new mom with a background in perinatal nursing. Welcome to Birth Unboxed, where we talk about all things birth, whether it's unassisted free birth, home birth with a midwife, or in a hospital. I believe every woman deserves the right to choose how and where she gives birth. I created this podcast to raise awareness so women can make informed choices and feel empowered in their births. By sharing stories and learning from one another, we can reclaim our power and become the ultimate authority in our own birthing experiences. Sisterhood is powerful, and I am so glad you're here. Let's get started. Before we jump into today's episode, just a quick note. Karen's audio cuts out a few times during our conversation, so if you find it hard to catch some words, I recommend watching this episode on YouTube with the subtitles. You'll also hear Karen mention AFP, alpha-fetoprotein. It's a protein made by the baby during pregnancy, and high levels of this in a pregnant woman's blood can sometimes indicate an increased risk of things such as neurotube defects like spina bifida or anencephaly. And it can have other causes as well, such as multiple pregnancies, an incorrect gestational due date, or placental concerns, which can sometimes be linked to complications like preeclampsia. The timing of these results, though, is very important, with the high levels in the second trimester being associated with the higher risk of things like preeclampsia. And as you will listen, Karen got the high AFP results when she was 12 weeks pregnant, and with the subsequent blood test, the levels were not concerning. All right, let's get into today's episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Birth Unboxed podcast. Today I have Karen joining me today. Hi, Karen. How are you?
Hello. Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I actually met Karen when she was a little girl, maybe 7. How old were you when you came to Canada? Yeah, 7? And now she's a full-grown woman. She's a wife and a mother. And today she's joining us to tell us her birth story. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy and I know your baby's right there. So like always, you might hear some baby sounds in the background. But, this is a podcast with moms for moms, and that's just how it goes. So, Karen, let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about how it was falling pregnant.
Okay. So my pregnancy was not planned.
Okay.
Start off with
Surprise,
I
surprise.
was pregnant. It was a surprise pregnancy. The best surprise ever.
Yeah.
Starting off, I was really scared with everything, like the unknown. I never really looked into being pregnant or what comes with being pregnant. So everything was really new to me. Right when I found out I was pregnant, I had a dream of having a home birth,
Yeah.
not knowing exactly what went into actual birth. That was my dream. I wanted an unmedicated vaginal birth. My mom had a C-section for all 3 of us, and it was very scary.
Yeah.
So hearing that in the back of my head in the beginning was just, I don't want it. I did my 12-week scan and blood work, and my fetal alpha protein was really high.
Okay.
And I had a midwife at the time, and she scared me. She's like, your mom had preeclampsia, severe preeclampsia. Now this is high, so you're at like double risk for it. So what does it mean? What can I do to help it? Searching up on Google, and you get a whole bunch of scary things on it.
Always.
And I didn't severe with it. With the midwife, so I right away reached out to OBs, and I was looking for an OB. I found an OB.
So did your midwife tell you that she couldn't keep you as a client at that point?
She did not. No, she did not. So, and that's the other thing, is that I was dealing with a student, like my midwife's student, directly dealing with the midwife. So I didn't feel very secure in their.
Okay.
And they're like, everything's fine, but just searching everything up and all the risks, and then having my mom
got scared. Yeah.
Then this is now elevated. I was like, there's no way. So my dream of having a natural birth just completely it went south, and I gave up on it instantly. So I ended up finding an OB, and I was scared because originally hearing about OBs and midwives, they're very different.
Yeah, they can be. Yeah.
But I had decided I wanted a C-section at that point, because that was
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So you
because
went full like,
I went full 360
yeah.
completely because I let the fear speak to me. So when I went to the OB, I was like, my mom had severe preeclampsia. She almost died, as did my sister, and it just really scared me. And I'm like elevated, so I now want a scheduled C-section.
Uh-huh.
I want to go all the way 40
Right.
minutes full term
Yeah.
to avoid it. I don't know what I was thinking, but that was my thought.
Okay. And what'd you say?
So right away, my OB, she was very informed. So she informed me
Good.
of exactly what the alpha-fetoprotein was, and then
Do
she
you
went.
wanna explain a little? Do you remember what she said to you?
She said that because it was 12 weeks, it was still too soon to know, and it wasn't as elevated as I was told it was.
Okay.
And what she told me was that it does have to do with it, but not at the significance that I was explained.
Okay.
And then we went over, I did more blood work for them. So yeah, we ran more tests, and with the test, she's like, Karen, you're completely fine. There's nothing for you to be worried about. We're going to keep monitoring you closely.
Okay.
Which I felt secure. So from then,
Yeah. That's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I found an OB, I think I was like 16, 17 weeks pregnant. And ever since then,
Okay.
she had me go in like every 2 to 3 weeks, which
Okay.
is definitely a lot more than.
Yeah. But you liked that. You wanted that.
I liked it because
It
it made
made you
me.
feel calmer. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And throughout, right in the beginning, though, she asked me, she's like, what was your original birth plan? And I was like, I want
Yeah.
vaginal birth. I want
Yeah.
vaginal birth. And she's like, so why are you choosing a C-section? And I was like, I'm just scared. I'm like, I was told this. My mom had it. So now she's like, you're just trying to control the situation. And she's like,
Yeah.
I can't control giving birth. She's like, that's
Yeah.
not control. But she turned to me and she goes, I am very happy that you're okay with a C-section because it would be a lot harder for you if you came here with the mentality of, I want vaginal birth.
Yeah.
And you end up with an emergency C-section. Just, it's a lot harder to take in.
Yeah.
But she's like, I'll do whatever you want. If that's what's going to make you at peace, and we're going to schedule a C-section. And we'll just take it day by day. When we get closer, we'll keep on talking. Maybe you can change your mind. But from the looks of it and what I'm hearing, you're just doing it out of fear and out of control.
Yeah.
And
Like she didn't, for sure, like she didn't give you a reason like, oh, yes, no, you're right. We should do a C-section. That is going to be the safest. She, listened to you and she calmed you and she educated you on the real risks there for what you were diagnosed with. Yeah.
Exactly. And it was very calming to hear and know, like, she was very supportive, but at the same time, very raw. She's like, I know you think that a C-section is the easy way out, but both births, there are, pain.
Yeah, of course.
Both vaginally, there's pain there.
Well, it's not even just pain. Pain is almost like the least of things. It's just like the risks, the complications, right? For both. Yeah.
I know.
So I'm glad she really educated you and informed you of both choices. And I like that she said to you, at the end, we'll do what you want. It's your birth, it's your choice. But, here's a little bit of both sides. Just so you know, because it seems like you went into it at that point thinking that, like, oh no, if I do a C-section, guaranteed it's all good. Nothing bad can happen with the C-section. And you didn't think about the recovery, and it was just like, that's just easy peasy, safe. And she was like, wait a second. Yes and no. It's a major surgery. There's this, and that. And she gave you all the information for you to feel good about your decision and be truly informed.
One example she gave me is, she's like, if you have a C-section now, willingly, the chances of your second pregnancy, and if you want a second child or a third child, the chances of it being a C-section is also really high. And she's like, and depending how many kids you want, that can also kind of get in the way as well. if you're
Yeah, well, I really like this OB because that's not something they usually bring up. A lot of times they don't ask, how many kids do you want? Because
Mhm.
that really makes a difference when you're having multiple cesareans. So I love that you brought that up.
Just very
Yeah,
informative, very caring. And
good.
I stopped and I listened for a second. I was like, I do want more kids. And then she turned to
Mm-hmm.
me, she's like, well, think about it. You have a C-section now. You can recover. It's your first baby. With your second baby, you're gonna have a toddler running around your house
Yeah,
while recovering.
yeah,
And I was like, that's
yeah.
also something to
Significantly
think
harder.
about.
Yeah.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
And I know she was just saying it because I was choosing to do it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
more of a way like you're thinking this is the easy way out, which is not.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I had it in my head. And from
Yeah.
our culture, right, in Brazil, a lot of
Yes. Yeah.
women do C-section,
Yeah.
which is totally normal.
Yeah. Totally. And that is what they preach and that is what they believe, that it is easy, that there's no
Yeah,
risks, it's convenient, and why would you do anything else?
exactly. And then speaking
Yeah.
to my mom is like, Karen, it's not what you think it is. You're gonna be in bed right
Hmm.
now for almost a month. It's so
Yeah. Yeah.
and with the vaginal, it's just very different. And she's just like, just listen to your body. And I was then kind of listening to it, but still not. I did schedule a C-section. I scheduled a
Oh, okay.
C-section for, I think it was at 38 weeks, I believe.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
So I had it scheduled, and I signed the papers. And she's like, "We'll submit it, but you can back out whenever you want."
That's good.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "No, I want it." And she was like, let's take it day by
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
And at
Yeah.
that point, I was still doing a lot of ultrasounds. She had me do a lot of ultrasounds and going in for appointments. 2 weeks before giving birth, so I was 37 weeks, and
Mm-hmm.
section for the following week.
Yeah.
And I turned to her and I was like, "Can we schedule a what is it called?
An induction?
An induction?"
Mm.
I'm like, "Can we schedule an induction? Have us push the C-section a week,
Yeah.
and if she comes, she comes." And she turns to me and she's like, "You sound very unsure of what you want." Like, I don't know what I want. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just scared at this point.
Yeah.
But at this
Yeah.
point, the alpha-fetoprotein was gone. There was
Okay.
absolutely no risk with me, and
Mm.
preeclampsia, she was not
Yeah. Your blood pressure had been fine throughout this whole thing.
fine. Exactly. So it was at this point, it was just mental fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I canceled my C-section,
Okay.
booked the,
The induction.
the induction. And I was really scared at that point too, because we booked the balloon.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I can't go back because now it's like a week before it's done.
So for those listening, the balloon is like a Foley balloon. So it's inserted into you and it's filled up with water, and that stimulates your cervix to dilate. And it usually falls off when you're about 3 centimeters dilated. So it's a way to get things going. And sometimes, it will do a lot on its own. Sometimes it takes a while and nothing really happens. You still have to get the Pitocin to start dilating. But that's usually how it started for inductions.
And I heard it's really painful too.
Yeah, it can be, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put on it and I'm just gonna trust my body and let it do what it has to do. I was starting to feel very confident. Um,
Like you're starting to feel confident
yeah,
about birth?
about birth.
Okay.
Like last minute, 2 weeks
You
before
start
birth.
feeling comfortable with the idea of birthing. Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm like, I just trusted in God, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do what my body needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was at that point. I was praying. I was like, I want her to come before my induction day. Like, I just want her to
Yeah.
give me signs she's ready.
Yeah.
The so I had the induction booked for a Monday. Ayla was born the Friday before. So that week, I was doing 2-hour walks every day.
Yeah.
I was doing massages and workouts at home because I was like, she has to come. She has to come. And my water broke. My water broke on Friday. No sign of infections. No sign of. I go to the hospital. They checked me, and I wasn't even 0.5 centimeters.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
And you hadn't felt any pain after your waters?
No, nothing. But prior to this, I forgot to tell you, prior to this, my OB said, she's like, I'm in the hospital on Friday. She winked at me. She's like, no, if your water breaks, we can just, you know. And when I showed up, she's like, oh, so your water broke? No, my water broke. Like, and I was like, no, it actually broke. And she's like, wow, your water did break. But I was like, so you can still, start the induction process.
Yeah.
Or you can go home. At that point, I was like, it was 10 p.m. when we got to the hospital.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
At around 1 a.m., I started to get contractions.
Oh, okay.
I get to the hospital again at around 2:30. They checked me, 1 centimeter dilated. And I was like, oh my goodness, and it was so painful.
Yeah, so I don't know about you, but my contractions started 1 hour after my waters opened, and they were okay at first for the first 12 hours. They were annoying, but they were coming every 30, 40 minutes. But then once they really picked up, they were horrendous, and I couldn't get any relief. They were back to back. But then I was doing all this research, and I found out that when your waters break, there's no cushioning for the contractions. So they're more painful usually than before. So I was reading all of these women talking on this forum, and a lot of them are like, yeah, they're comparing different births they had, and they're like, oh my God, with your waters open, it's so much more painful. And I was like, okay, that makes me feel a little better because I was dying, and then I was only 4 centimeters dilated, and I was like, how is that possible? So there, a little bit of insight on that for you.
I had no idea that that's how it works. I'm telling you, I was so scared. I would search things, and it would make me so scared that I would just back out.
Yeah, you got to be very careful.
Throughout my pregnancy, I was like, I'll dip my toe into information and dip it right back out.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a lot of scary stuff. And there's always someone that's like, let me throw in my most scary, completely rare occurrence, but let me put it out there to make women think that, this is very likely to happen.
Exactly. Even the alpha-fetoprotein, when I searched it up, it would show me that babies will be born with their nerve system on their outside their spinal cord. So it made me even more.
Yeah, of course.
What is going on?
Of course.
Anyways, I got to the hospital at 2:30. I was 1 centimeter dilated, so they had me in triage, and it was a busy night. So they're like, you're only 1 centimeter. You have a long way to go. Just stay here. And I was there.
And you were already in a lot of pain.
I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
Point where I had diarrhea.
Yeah.
I had diarrhea, and I was vomiting from.
Yeah.
I did find a comb. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
What is it called?
A birthing comb.
So yeah. I used one. Yeah. It really helped. Yeah. Really? I used that the entire time. Yeah.
It was
highly recommend.
So I stayed in triage from 2 or 2:30 in the morning. I don't remember. And early morning. When I started throwing up and having diarrhea, that's when I was like, this is no joke. You can't tell me that.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that I'm not saying.
Yeah.
And I see that they had steaming water in the sink. let my hand burn
Oh my God.
away the pain from my
Oh my
transformation.
goodness.
It was.
Oh, babe. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, that's crazy, right? Just like anything else will just distract from this pain. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And like you're looking at the time and it's like, okay, I have like a minute to breathe.
Oh,
And then it picks up. And then
yeah.
she grabbed me from I had my husband ask them like when she needs to go in. She's in pain.
Yeah.
We don't have rooms.
Uh,
Like, no. And then they picked me up at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. They brought me to the room. And the girl was like, do you want an epidural? And I was like, yes.
yeah.
An epidural, please.
Yeah.
And they're telling me the risks and everything that comes with the epidural. And I was like
Yeah.
at this point,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
They give me the epidural at 8 a.m. And it takes like 30 minutes for it to kick in, right?
Yeah, about 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It can take a little bit longer. Yeah.
So it kicked in at 8:30. I finally was able to rest.
And did they check you right after to see how far?
No. So they did, and I wish they checked me because I gave birth an hour after.
Oh.
So I wish I knew how.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
I had no idea because I was resting. So at 8:30, I was resting. Around 9 a.m., 9:15, a nurse comes in and I'm like sleeping. I was resting and I feel the contraction. So I was like, as I'm resting, I was like, and the nurse came to check my vitals and she's like, are you feeling your contractions? I was like, yeah, but not intense. I know they're there. I can feel it. And she's like, you're not supposed to be feeling it. I was like, well, I can feel it. Like, like it's not painful. It's enough to like wake me up.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, let me check you. She checks me. She's like, you're 10 centimeters dilated. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So my doctor comes in and he checks and he goes, yeah, you're ready to give birth. But she wasn't in position correctly. So her head was facing down. It was facing sideways. And that's why you're feeling your contractions. So she wasn't in position and she was just like, and he's like, can I turn her? And I was like, yes, of course. He turned her, it went away. But he's like, but you're ready to push. Like she's there, she's crowning. She's ready to out. Yeah. He goes and grabs my nurses, which they were amazing. I had a student nurse, which was her first day at birth. So when my doctor went to go call them, they came in and they seen me, the doctor seen me, like, are you ready to push? And I was like, yeah. So I started pushing and they didn't even have everything prepared because it just happened fast. My nurse was like, I thought you were going to stay here until 7 p.m.
Yeah. First time moms, yeah.
I was like, really? She's like, yeah, you're going really fast.
So how was pushing?
I pushed 3 times.
Yeah.
And I pushed once during the contraction. And I felt it. Like, I felt her crowning.
Oh, yeah.
She's there. So then he turned to me. He's like, let's wait until the other one. So then I waited. And then I pushed the second time. For the third time, I wasn't contracting, but I was like, can I push? Because I feel very and I feel the need to push.
Yeah.
And then I pushed and she came out.
Yeah.
And then he told me to slow down, but I gave birth at Mount Sinai. It's not a mirror, but they have this mirror like fan, so you can see everything that's happening. Like,
and usually they do have a mirror available if you want one. Yeah, so I also have not seen it be common practice at the hospital I was at. They just don't really mention it a lot of the time. I feel like some nurses do it more than others, but it's not very common. But if my hospital has it, I'm sure that one downtown has. And they would just wheel over this mirror and have it right in front of you if you wanted to watch. So I'm sure they do have it. But yeah, unless you're asking, a lot of the time they won't even mention it. Because there are women that are like, oh God, no, I don't want to see anything. I don't want to know what's happening down there. But a lot of women do want to see it. because it helps with the pushing, you know?
I
Yeah.
originally didn't want to see it, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it, and I was like, this is cool. So I was really into
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Cool. And
Yeah.
and then I seen her head, and my husband turns to me. He goes, "Karen, her head is there. I see her head." And I was like, "Oh my God."
Oh
So then I
yeah.
pushed her head out, and that's the hardest part. The
Mm.
doctor tells me to slow down,
Yeah.
and then it was honestly like I have no words to say. I had a really great birthing story, and it was
Mm-hmm.
everything I had dreamed of, but
Yeah.
it's a perspective that I've never really put it into writing. So
Right. Yeah.
or I pretty much the doctor like told me, he's like, "Are you okay to reach down?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, like
Yeah.
let's do it." And then I reached down and I finished taking her out of me.
Oh, that's
It was all
amazing.
very nice. Like I one
Yeah.
thing I did not want, and I wasn't vocal about it, is I didn't want her to be suctioned. I don't
Mm.
know why, but I wasn't comfortable with that idea.
And that's not usually routine anymore.
Oh no.
No, babies are not routinely suctioned anymore, unless there's a reason.
Okay.
Before, all babies used to be suctioned as soon as they came out with like the bulb syringe. That's
Yeah.
not routine anymore. Was she suctioned?
No, no, like the section on the head, like to help
Oh,
lower.
like the vacuum.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Sorry, I
didn't
thought you meant like
want to.
suction like the nose and the mouth, but you
No.
mean like yeah, the here we call it like the vacuum suction. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want that, but it didn't
Yeah.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, no, they gave me her right away, and I had like a whole golden hour. And my nurses were
Good.
advocating for me. I remember my
Good.
husband's like, "I want to hold her." The nurse is like, "You can you're like the baby's mom right now," and she's going,
Oh,
"For a
yeah.
little while, you can hold the baby." And I was just like,
Oh,
"Okay,
yeah.
it's very important for the baby to be with the mom."
Yeah.
They should just
Oh.
and like
Oh, wow. Good.
the baby was. I did have an interior. I forgot all the terms now, but I know that my placenta wasn't centered on the side, and it was
Okay.
placenta, so that was something
Okay.
monitoring as well.
Okay.
And she was showing me that on the placenta, like, can you tell that the umbilical cord is not centered on the side? It was really
Uh,
cool.
that's awesome. It sounds like how it should be in hospitals, like getting to still be part of the whole process and still be shown these things. Because many times you don't ever see your placenta, you don't even know it came out of you. It just gets tossed unless you ask to see it, unless you ask to take it home. Or, yeah, so a lot of the time, women have no idea. Like,
Wow.
they don't even know they have a placenta because, like, it's never mentioned. It's because usually in the hospital, and that's likely what happened with you, they do active management of the placenta. So expectant is when you wait for your body to expel the placenta on its own, and active management is when they'll usually give you a shot of pitocin, and then they pull out the placenta pretty much immediately after the baby comes out. And most women, that's when you're holding your baby, and it's just like you just gave birth. And most women have an epidural, so they're not even aware what's happening down there, and the placenta comes out. They take it away, and you just don't even know there was there. Like it's just yeah, like
Wow, I had no idea.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm glad to hear your experience. Yeah.
for me to see and hold it up
Mm-hmm.
and explain everything. My nurses also took pictures, and it was so funny because she's like, "You want me to
Good.
take pictures?" And I was like, "Yeah, but not from down there." I was like, "I don't know how comfortable I am seeing it."
Yeah.
And she took so many, and today I was like, "This is the most insane moment of my life," and I am so
Yeah.
proud of myself. And whenever I'm with my friends, I'm like, "Do you want to see it?" They're like, "Not really." I was like, "My
Look at my
mom has
vagina. I pushed a baby out of this vagina. Take a look.
stuff." My mom
Right?
was, she's like, "No, I can't." Like,
That's so
my stuff.
funny.
But I'll watch it, and I was like,
It's
it's just
amazing.
what a woman's body can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm so glad you felt comfortable seeing that. And, you were originally of the mindset that you wanted to experience birth naturally and all that. And I'm glad that your epidural wasn't that strong, that you were able to feel a little bit, because it really helps with the pushing and even with tearing when you're able to direct. Because like I didn't have to push, but from all the patients I had, I like they would always tell me it was very hard to know where to push because you don't know where you're pushing because you don't feel down there. So it's almost like sometimes their pushing was like in their face. Their face would be really red, and but they weren't making any progress. Like the baby wasn't even moving. So it's very weird when you can't feel what you're pushing. So if you felt like a little bit, it really helps to direct that pushing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
Did you
was
get any
one.
tearing?
I did. I did.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I didn't want to be clamped. I don't know, it's just little things that you think about, but
Like, do you mean like the cord or
no, I didn't want to
or
be cut because I do have
cut? Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I heard clamped.
I did say clamp.
Okay, that's okay. But then when you say clamp, I think of umbilical cord. It's the nurse in me.
Yeah, I didn't want to be cut, but he didn't even. It wasn't something I actually vocally said.
Expressed,
So
yeah.
I didn't express it. I didn't vocalize it, but I did here. I believe I got to second.
Yeah, second degree tear. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, 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 very common.
Mm-hmm.
Like most women birthing on their backs with an epidural end up with a second degree tear.
It's like a feeling it's pressure on me too. And it was
Mm.
just a, and it was towards my clitoris. Yeah,
Mm.
I didn't lose sensation like
Don't
once
cut
we
the
had to laugh
clitoris.
and he goes, "You just gave birth." I was like, "I know, but like, no, you're good." But I could
That's
see
funny.
it from the little mirror, and I could feel it. So I was scared. I was like, "Oh my
Yeah, of course. Yeah, some people will get like a clitoris tear, like
god!"
clitoral
And
tear. Yeah,
it was going towards it, like after you have to
yeah. So how long were you in the hospital? 24 hours?
24 hours. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly 24 hours.
And how was your postpartum recovery for those first 24 hours in the hospital? How was the breastfeeding?
Breastfeeding, I can say it was one of the most challenging parts,
Yeah,
the whole pregnancy
yeah,
aspect. That one
yeah,
month postpartum was very crucial. I was
yeah,
very close to giving up. I
yeah,
was
yeah,
so painful. It was
yeah.
so very uncomfortable, and in the beginning too, like 1 week after I gave birth, I took her to the pediatrician, and they push you on to formula right away, and
Uh,
nothing wrong with it. But I just felt so incompetent, and like I
mm,
wasn't producing enough
yeah,
for,
yeah.
for her. So I gave her formula right away for 1 week, and then I started pumping, but she started to reject
Mm, mm,
wanting the bottle.
uh,
I really wanted to breastfeed, but at the same time, it was so painful. Like, she would come to breastfeed, not like pull myself back.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
was frustrating for both her and I.
yeah,
And
yeah.
my husband went back to work. He stayed home with me for 3 weeks. And I was like, you know what? We're going to do it. But now, today, she's exclusively breastfed and she will not.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so good. Like it's such a uh, what's the word? Like one of those moments in motherhood where, we'll do something that we know sucks a lot of the time. It's painful and we're already low on sleep, low on energy, and you don't want to feel pain, but you know it's good for your baby, and it's such a nice way to bond with them that we
Yeah.
do it. Like I was in pain for 8 weeks, and I was like, "This I've never heard of anyone who was in pain for 8 weeks. Like, why is this?" And like, I know what the latch is supposed to look like. Why is this so painful? And it was. And then suddenly, after 8 weeks, it just got better. I say my nipples toughened up. It
That's
just took time.
exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
But now it's
definitely
amazing. Yeah,
got mastitis, as I was called.
yeah. Mastitis. Yeah.
On one of them, it was the one that's
Hmm. Yeah.
it was, but like after talking to so many moms, they all give you different tips
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you take, and it helps.
Yeah.
I
Totally.
1 month it started to feel better.
Yeah, yeah, good.
I
And
don't
that's
think
the
it's
thing. No, people
challenge.
don't talk about it enough. Like
No.
as a postpartum nurse, I saw the struggle within those first 24 to 48 hours. So I was expecting, okay, it's going to be a little bit hard, but it's going to be fine. But it was just like so hard. And we talk about birth so much. But birth is, 24 hours, give or take. The postpartum is like 40 days, 6 weeks, if that. Like, obviously continues past that, but those first initial weeks are so hard mentally, emotionally, physically. And for some reason, society just doesn't really give it enough importance. And I think women, and this is why I have this podcast, so we can talk about these things and say, no, it sucks. It's painful. You will cry. It's going to hurt. And even if you're doing all the right things, it can still be painful and it can still hurt. But, you talk to other moms, you get their advice, you do this, you do that, you see a breastfeeding specialist, and over time, things do get better. But it's important that we talk to one another and have other mom friends and really share these hardships and the joys that come with it.
Yeah. And yeah, it's what I tell people, like when they ask me about birth, and I was like, honestly, like surprised of how positive the outcome was. But breastfeeding, it was a completely bubble of unknown for me.
Yeah.
It was the most challenging part of it all, and it was not spoken. We're at the hospital.
Yeah.
They see her latch, and they're like, she's latching fine. And I'm
Yeah.
curling my toes. And she's like, why are you curling your toes? You're not supposed to be curling your toes. I'm like, because it's hurting.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be hurting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not supposed to, but it often does. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing the good sides of a hospital birth, that you had a positive experience, you enjoyed your experience, you feel like you were informed and your wishes were respected. So it's always nice hearing positive hospital stories as well. And thank you for sharing and being vulnerable and opening up about your breastfeeding challenges, because so many women do experience that. So I think it's important we talk about that. But before I let you go, is there anything that you would like to share or any piece of advice you would like to offer up for any future moms listening? If there was something you wish you had known prior to giving birth, prior to entering your postpartum, anything that you would pass on to a future mom?
Don't let the negative thoughts of things like too much in your mind, but also be open to every possibility that can happen.
Yeah.
And that first month postpartum, honestly, all I can say is that we're all doing great and we're doing everything that we can for our babies, even when we feel like we're not. And I think that it's not. People don't talk about it enough. People don't give you enough credit.
Yeah.
And it's very much so of like, you know what, that's expected. A mom is tired. A mom
Yeah.
things, and it's like, yes, I understand, but I do feel like we can't expect other people to acknowledge what we're doing, but acknowledge it ourselves and be proud of what we've become and what we're doing.
For sure.
Because we deserve that.
Yeah.
That's one thing, yeah. Not to
Yeah.
be so
Most
hard.
challenging. Yeah, it's just the most challenging but rewarding and beautiful experience. And we can say, yeah, this is hard and this sucks sometimes and it's overwhelming and it's okay, but we're doing it and we're doing amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're the best mama to Yada, and I'm the best
Oh,
mama to
thank
Ayla,
you.
and
You are.
that's
Yeah.
no one
Oh,
else who can replace us, and that's how
oh,
I always
yeah.
remind myself of that.
Yeah, that's so important. So mamas and future mamas listening, you're doing amazing. That's the message from today. You're doing amazing and it's hard and we see you. We feel the same way and it's just the most amazing and the hardest thing of our lives and we love it. It's bittersweet. but you're doing amazing. So we just want you to know that. Good advice, Karen. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will leave you guys here. Until next week. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to Birth Unboxed. If you've enjoyed today's conversation and want to hear more, please consider subscribing to the podcast so you never miss an episode and leaving a review. I'd love to hear your thoughts or even your own birth stories, so feel free to connect with me via Instagram at thebirthunboxed.podcast or through my website linked in the show notes. Until next time, friends.